Hits 1055. That was Bare Naked Ladies with 1 Week. Good morning. Welcome to the morning show. Hope everyone is having a thrilling Thursday morning. It has been 1 week since I've seen Carla Young, who's in the studio with me right now, with Living United with United Way President Carla Young, brought to us by Allison's Custom Jewelry. Good morning, Carla. How are you?
Good morning, Tracy. It's sunny today, this Thursday, and it is wonderful. If that doesn't make you smile, just walk outside and look, because it should make you smile, because the sun is out.
The sun is shining.
It is wonderful. I'm thrilled to be here today. We've got some great things going on at the United Way. Again, a reminder to take your Shelby County Community Needs Assessment. We are working on those as a collaborative effort in our community to really identify what needs we need to look at going into the future. So you can access that survey at shelbycountyneeds.com. And if you have any questions, please just call the United Way office. Additionally, our Student United Way grants are out, our application. It is due tomorrow. So if you're a nonprofit or a teacher or someone who impacts our youth, 0 to 18, and have a grant application up to $2,000, we'll accept those. More information is out on our website and our Facebook page, or again, just give the office a call and we'll be able to help you. But I'm super excited to have Emily New here. She's with our Mercy Mission House. So Emily, can you give the listeners a little bit of information about, as the founder and executive director of the Mercy Mission House, what you do and how it all started?
Sure. Thanks so much, Carla, and thanks, Tracy. It's so great to be here. I miss Tracy. I used to get to see her every week. So the Mercy Mission House was started out of a need that we saw in the community for unsheltered individuals who didn't have a place to stay at night. So the community got together and we were able to raise the funds and create what is an emergency shelter. And what the Mercy Mission House is, it's a low barrier emergency shelter. So what that means is that anyone can come to us unless they are a registered sex offender or have aggravated violent assaults. Otherwise, they come to us just as they are. Our job is to meet them where they're at in their life and then help them move forward in their journey. So our goal at the shelter is to help people get stabilized. What that means to each person is different. So everyone who comes in our doors has their own individual plan, and we work with them. Some of that might be mental health. Some could be just getting rest and knowing that they can go out and start over again. Some might be recovery from substance misuse. It just looks different for everyone. But what we do is help them get stabilized, and then the end goal is to get stable income. And that might be through employment. The majority is employment. Some people need disability, so we'll help them with that paperwork and get that started, and then get them into some form of permanent housing.
Awesome. And I know you guys, in my short time with the United Way already, every time I've been down there, you guys have been very full. How many residents do you currently have?
We have over 40 residents right now. So our doors are definitely full, but they're still open. So we have the warming center in our building this year as well. We're lucky with the weather right now. It's not too cold, but on those cold nights, we are open for people to come in between 9 p.m. and 10 p.m., and they're able to stay the night. We wake them up at 6:30 in the morning. They can go get breakfast at the Alpha Center at 7 a.m., and then they are able to come back the following night if they still need a place to sleep that's safe and warm. But as far as current residents, we do have over 40 that are in our program that we're actively working with. And I did want to mention that we have 9 children in our building right now, because sometimes I think that is misunderstood and lost, but we do have 9 kiddos in our building right now that we're also helping. And I just want to give a shout out to Sydney City Schools, because they are great. They work with us and they will come and pick the kids up right from the shelter at the front door and take them to school. So I'm just super thankful for that.
That's wonderful. You highlighted on a couple things, but the one I'll start with this question. I think there's obviously a lot of misconceptions about emergency shelter and what the Mercy Mission House does. What do you feel is the biggest misconception in our community, and one that you would like to clear up?
I think potentially one of the biggest misconceptions is that people who are unsheltered are quote unquote lazy or just don't want to work, when in fact the majority of people that come to us are coming to us in a state of trauma. They have dealt with something, be it physically, mentally, emotionally, something that has put their life in a spiral. And our job is to provide that God's mercy and love to them and help them find some stability in whatever situation they're in. I know, too, one of the other misconceptions that honestly I had when we were raising money is I felt like a lot of people were going to be coming to us that were dealing with substance misuse. And that is absolutely not the case. We do have people who are struggling with substance misuse and working on their recovery, but the majority of people who come through our doors are dealing with mental health issues, and that's what we need to help them get stabilized with. So that is our number one need.
Thank you, Emily. For those who are not familiar, the Mercy Mission House is on the same campus as the Alpha Center. Can you kind of talk about that partnership and how you guys are able to work together to really serve our community?
Absolutely. In fact, the Mercy Mission House was really born through the Alpha Community Center. So I had started volunteering with Jan Guy, who was the executive director at the Alpha Community Center. And then she had asked me to be on the board, and I became president of the board and kind of went from there. And we saw that need for those folks that were unsheltered. And she had always had dreams, and that's where that partnership started. And then it only makes sense if we're going to have people who don't have a home to be on the same campus where they can get meals every day too. And the Alpha Community Center has served breakfast and lunch Monday through Friday for as long as I know. They opened their doors in 1984. So it's been a staple in our community, and we wanted to make sure that the residents of the shelter would be able to enjoy those meals as well. So that partnership, they offer our residents breakfast and lunch Monday through Friday. They have chapels on Tuesday nights that our residents are able to attend with a hot meal that night as well. And then also on Sunday mornings, Community of Hope, which is another one of our partners, and that is an outreach from Sydney First Methodist Church. They offer a hot breakfast, again, open to the whole community, not just shelter residents, on Sunday mornings at 8:30 a.m., and then they do a church service at 9 a.m. So there's so many partnerships and ways to reach out to anyone in the community that needs fellowship, that needs food, that needs a place to stay, and they've got one place they can come out to, and we work together. If we see somebody come into shelter that we know could use some things that the Alpha Center has, we'll take them over there. If the Alpha Center is noticing the same person coming in and eating, and it looks like maybe they are not in a place that's safe or they don't have shelter, then they'll refer them over to us, and it just works out really well to all be together.
Thank you, Emily. I think before we head to a short break, I think the one thing, when you think, a lot of people think homeless shelter, you guys are different in that you're an emergency homeless shelter. Can you kind of talk about the average length of stay and how you work to get the residents, as you said, back stabilized and on their own?
Yep. Emergency shelter is, by definition, it is supposed to be, and I'm saying supposed to be, and I'll explain that in a minute, but it's supposed to be a 30 to 90 day program. It is not a long-term solution. We're not transitional housing. Transitional housing can be up to 24 months. So we are really supposed to be a short-term place for someone to land while we help connect them with those resources to provide that stable path for their future forward. I can tell you that our average length of stay has grown because of the lack of housing. So in order for someone to move out from the shelter, they have to find that permanent housing. So they have to find a rent reasonable apartment if they're not being connected with their family and moving back in with their family. So because of that, our length of stay has grown. It used to be 40, and then it was 45 days. Then now it went up to 60 days. And depending on which numbers and which ways you calculate it, it's either some of them are around 50 days. We have some that are even 97 days. So again, we're still close within those program timelines, but we do have individuals who need to stay longer. And one of those examples I can give you is if we've got someone who we know needs to be on Social Security disability, that they're never going to be able to hold full-time employment and be self-sufficient, then that process in and of itself takes 6 months. So we're not going to only have them in the shelter for 90 days because we're going to be with them throughout that process.
Thank you very much. I think we'll have a short break and then we'll hear some more.
Yeah,
Thank you.
That's right. All right. Coming up next, Always Be My Baby by Mariah Carey. It's Hits 105.5. Mariah Carey in the studio with me right now. I have Carla Young with Living United, United Way president, and it's brought to us by Allison's Custom Jewelry, and we're talking to Emily New from the Mercy Mission House, and we're going to continue the story.
Thank you, Tracy. And yes, we are so excited to have Emily here and what she does for our community down at Mercy Mission House. Emily, I know you were just talking during break a little bit to us. Can you share some of the things that have been going on in the community lately? Some other information about homelessness and kind of how we determine how to address these things going forward.
Sure. So every year there is a point in time count. And what that means is that each community goes out and they do a count of people who are unsheltered or homeless. And we just finished ours for 2024. And the last time that Shelby County was asked to do a point in time count was 2022. So in 2022, when we did the count, our overall count was 31 individuals. I just finished my portion of Shelby County's point in time count for this year, and just counting those that are in the Mercy Mission House and those that we observed going out, and I'll talk a minute about that, but we were at 48 individuals. So that doesn't include the other shelters in the area. It doesn't include New Choices or any of the counts from the other agencies. So the need is growing. It's growing across all communities. It's not just Shelby County. This is a trend that anybody who is in the human services industry is well aware of. With rent increases and lack of affordable housing, the numbers of unsheltered individuals just continues to increase. The other thing that we talked about a little bit that is also contributing to that increase is the lack of mental health care. It is a crisis in our nation. It's a crisis in our community. We have wonderful mental health care providers in our area, but they can only do so much, right? And so that continues to be something. And for severe cases where they need inpatient hospitalization, there's not a whole lot around us where we can get those individuals the true help that they need. But the point in time count, it's very interesting to me when I learned about it. It's one night in January, and you have to go out and count individuals between 8 p.m. and 6 a.m. And I always thought that was very strange. Like, why is it in January, in the coldest weather ever, to go out and count individuals? But, there's various thoughts on why that is. But that is what happens once a year. So you'll hear about point in time count. You'll hear about the housing inventory count. So what that would be is where we look at our shelter and take the count of every individual that's in our shelter overnight too. But that happened on January 23rd, so just recently.
Very recent, and like you said, yeah, January was not the nicest month, so definitely a cold month to be going out counting people. But we know there's a need, and we know there's areas of opportunity for listeners who maybe have something in their heart right now, or even in their wallet to help you. What kind of ways can you either take donations, or volunteers?
Yeah, absolutely. We are always so happy whenever anybody reaches out with interest to even learn about what we're doing or how they can help. On our website, which is www.themercymissionhouse.com, there is an area on the website that says Get Involved. And if you click on that, there's an Amazon wish list if you'd like to donate items. It's funny because I've actually cried over trash bags, which, you would have asked me 5 years ago, I would think that I was crazy. But I have cried over trash bags. But there's always things that we're in need of. And then also on the website, there's an area for volunteering. So we have 3 different volunteer opportunities. So serving meals is one area that people can volunteer, or coming in and helping at our front desk. So just answering the phones and helping kind of triage. We talk about emergency rooms, and we're an emergency shelter. So we also have to triage the needs and the calls that come in as well. But the receptionist volunteer helps a lot with that. They kind of take that first call, and if they can answer questions, it doesn't have to go through to the staff. And then also fellowship volunteer, and that would be somebody who can come in and just share their time and listen to people and provide a listening ear, and also good guidance on how they might handle things, and just, again, to listen to people's stories. The people who come through our doors have tremendous stories and want to share those. And it really, I think it helps the volunteer as much as it helps the resident at the shelter. Monetary needs are always big. We do have a donation tab on our website. It costs us $25,000 a month to run the shelter. The only grant that we get right now from a federal standpoint is about $22,000. It's between $21,000 and $22,000 a year So it doesn't even cover 1 month of operations. So we rely a lot on the community and our donors to help us keep our doors open and keep things moving at the Mercy Mission House. And then we have lovely things like a leaky roof. So we just, with all the rain that we've had lately, realized that we have a leak in our roof and we need a whole new roof. And that's going to be $50,000. And then our front door got broken. If you guys remember the wind that we had a couple months ago, it just kind of pulled our door all the way open and broke the latch. So we need new front doors, and we had those quoted, and it's going to be $35,000 for what we need for that. And then we also need 2 new air conditioning units. We have 4 on campus that run the shelter building, and we need to replace 2 of those. So, we've, in addition to the $25,000 a month that we need to help us keep our doors open, we've got some pretty big capital needs as well right now. Mm-hmm. But God is good. We'll be okay.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, Emily, so when you were on the board at the Alpha Center and you had this idea, you guys had this idea to come up, can you imagine, how long ago was that till where you are now?
Actually, I think Godspeed, right? We worked in a very fast time, especially during COVID, but we held a meeting in, I believe it was in July of 2020 in the midst of COVID, with most of the nonprofits in our community and some of the city leaders about the need, because we knew COVID kind of pushed the unsheltered need out into the forefront because people couldn't go into the emergency room and they couldn't go into a gas station and use the bathroom. Everything was closed, right? So it was much more visible. And so that brought the discussion to the forefront as well. And then we decided it needed to move forward. We started the capital campaign in January of 2021. So that's when we announced that we were going to build a shelter. And we were able to start construction in June. So we had raised $1.5 million by June of 2021. So again, that's to the generosity of our community and to the help of the United Way, definitely to get that kick started. And then we opened the warming center in January of 2022.
Yeah.
So we are just now on February 14th, we will be 2 years old.
That's fantastic. And people can follow on Facebook and, like you said, get on the Amazon wish list, get on your website, see how they can help. And we do have a wonderful community here, and they reach out to you. I know they reach out to you and what your needs are. And I love it because we did need that here in Sydney. And a lot of people, they're curious. They want to know their stories, and they're not judgmental. They want to help you. You want to help them. And I always like to see the success stories where they've got a place to go and just the smile on their faces. And I love that. Thank you so much for everything you do.
Absolutely. And one more thing, we do have 2 job openings right now.
Okay, yeah.
So we have weekend night, which would be from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So we need a resident supervisor for the weekends. And then we also need a second shift supervisor, which would be from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. Monday through Friday. So those are the 2 positions we have open right now. If anybody's interested, they can come into the shelter. We've got applications on site. It's good because then we're able to give them a tour when they come in to pick up the application to make sure that it's something that they would feel comfortable with before we go any further.
Yeah, and they can go to the shelter, and you can get on their website too. Yeah, thanks for saying that.
Thank
All
you.
Right. It was really good to see you, Emily New from Mercy Mission House, and thank you so much, Carla.
Thank you for having us. It's always great.
I know, it's great, and we have 2 microphones. How great was that? You don't have to swing that arm anymore. All right, that was Living United with United Way President Carla Young, brought to us by Allison's Custom Jewelry, serving you for over 40 years. Coming up, we got our ONN news, but first I got to tell you who we are. We are Hits 105.5 WMVR in Sydney, Ohio. And I'm going to also do the legal ID.